everybody, welcome back. Quite an exciting day this. Over the last few months you may have seen pictures on the board behind me that I've been working on a Colin Cantwell Sith fighter. So Colin did this for one of the original concept sketches for Star Wars back in the day. I just think it's really cool little fighter. Looks like it's in an atmosphere on a planet, so a little bit different than a normal starfighter or whatever. I normally fabricate everything from traditional old school methods with acrylic and metal and filler and all the rest of it, because I like the hand-on process and I think it's a cool thing to do. But you know, times change. But I did this design, I sent that off to the printers and I received some beautiful pieces. Got myself a cockpit, good old solid piece of resin. All the engines are beautiful. They're not round, they're designed to be slightly oval to fit to the rear of the craft. Here's the half of the fuselage, the top half, or the top quarter. It's very reminiscent of a Star Destroyer, but also there's loads of other things in there, you know, like the T-16 Skyhopper, and all that kind of feel is kind of brought into this. I think it's a lovely, lovely shape. I just like the dynamics of it. The tail seems slightly too big, but when you get used to the design ideas, it kind of starts to work. So all the back end needed resculpting because there's not really a lot of close stuff for that. So that's what I came up with at the back. Trying to make this one a lot easier to build for people than my normal models. So this is less of a challenge and more of a woo when you get to the end. So yeah, it all goes together well. I've got to make glass now for this, because in the sketch the windows are quite dirty and I want that to appear in the model. Pop the seat in there and then pop the top on, things start to get nice and complex. There's loads more details to go in here, loads on the back. So if you want to see what I do with this, stick with it. So here we are in white primer. Hello, we've got a hitchhiker. Get off there, boy. I have put in the acrylic glass into the frame, which has squared the frame up and made it all nice and lovely. Right, I'm kind of getting through this. The greeblies are going in and I've done them a silver. But now I'm having second thoughts about the bronze. I've given it a little bit of thought. And what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of gold. That's okay, that looks a bit more techno. Okay, right, onto the paint job. So I've been looking at it. I have given it a coat of, it's not white, it's very, very, very light blue. So now what I'm going to do is explore what kind of weathering I want to do on this. No idea how this is going to work out, but it's going to be stage one of me weathering.
Express yourself.
Right, so now we've had our washes on there, swiped over the surface, then I've gone back and sanded it with 2000 grit, knocked it back, left a few subtle streaks in the surface. They're going to come through with the airbrushing later. Now what I'm going to do is put on a bit more of a sort of worn edge to these panels in a baby blue. So what I'm going to do is rip this 2-inch masking tape roughly down the middle, just to give myself a bit of a ragged edge. I'm kind of pulling them apart rather than ripping them in a straight line. And then what I'm going to do is just put this along the edge of a panel, random like that. So just going to pop that on there, just give it a subtle 1, 2. That's all I need, just 2 passes. So now what I'm going to do is just chase back all these panels with that ragged kind of blue masked edge. So that's the kind of effect that I'm going for on this. Then the next step will be to silver the edges. Now I'm looking at the colour of the cockpit. I think that's too dark.
Express yourself.
Looking all right. So now it's a question of working out where I want my streaks, where I want everything to go. Silver on top of the white with a clear coat kind of dulls it down, gives you a grey, but it's got a semi-reflectivity to it, so you get a kind of burnishy kind of look to it, which is not too bad. I've done the same on the leading edge of most of these panels, just to give it that graduation. Super subtle, but it's there. Oh, Tamiya weathering master, and I'm going to try a little bit of soot. Okay, that's a load of MIG weathering compound, and then a sand, and then a clear coat of Tamiya. And then over the clear coat I have done a little bit of weathering with silver, because I want these edges to appear kind of burnished and the paint stripped off a little bit. Once the silver's gone on, which you just saw me do, I've knocked that back again to give this little thin texture to each one of the silver lines. I want everything to be subtle on this. The next layer is going to be the one that pulls out the detail. Okay, so I've physically scratched into the paint now on where the landing pads are. This is more physical wear rather than aerodynamics, so I can be a little bit harsh with this, chipping away and what have you. Okay, I'm happy with that. What I'm not happy with is the fuzziness, because that was quite sharp before, but I want to keep some of that colour in there. Now, because I chipped away physically at the surface, that blue is now sitting at a slightly lower level than the top of the paint. So I'm going to pass sandpaper, fine sandpaper over it once or twice, just to pull the highlights of those scratches back out through that paint. Trying to keep the sandpaper in the direction that the thing's going to be moving. And now I'm happy with that. It's got highlights and texture to it. See the texture coming out on there now? Nice, really nice. Now I'm going to go back in with a slightly darker colour, the same as the weathering that I'm going to be putting on the rest of it, and just darken off each one of these little chips. So now I've got that same weathering colour in here, very thin. And all I'm doing is just darkening off each one of these little parts. With that same weathering. Okay, that's looking all right. Now I want to streak it a little. I'm going to get streaks coming out from where these things are. Let's do that now. I'm going to direction of travel this time. And that's it. That's all I want to do. So now I've got loads of streaky bits on it and a bit of airbrushing and a bit of bleed away from where these things come out as the airflow spreads. What I'm going to do now is, because I can't really see the wood for the trees now, I'm going to put the idents on, the black lines that go on the side of the wings as seen on the reference. So I'll be using a few different colours of grey for this. Okay, that's the black bits on, and cockpit back on, just checking that I like the colour of the cockpit relative to those markings, and I do. I think that's really nice. And now what I'm going to do is switch and do a bit of brush work on the interior, get that a bit more detailed, then I can assemble that. I'm going to be putting on a shot of clear yellow, then I'll be clear red, then I'll be clear blue just near the edge. So I'm happy with that, that's enough. Next up, we're going to hit it with clear red, and we're aiming to do not quite as far down as the yellow. Okay, so that's red and yellow applied, or yellow and then red applied to give that graduation. Now what I'm going to do is hit it with a clear blue. Okay, we're getting that right kind of feel now. So that's the whole thing now with the colour bloom on there. Now it's time to weather it a little bit. Going to be more weathering on this when it gets on the model to bring it all together. But I think that's enough for the time being. I'm going to get the lights installed and get these fitted now. So now I'm just going over with that light blue white base coat, the original colour that I put on, just to mute everything back a bit and get rid of that too much streakiness and all the rest of it. I'm going to start to blend it all now into one. So I'm looking around, which bits don't I like? This bit's a bit blobby, don't like this bit here. Can you see that? Don't know, turn it around. Don't want to make it fully white. Let's just sharpen those two up a little bit. Don't mind the top edge, that's next to the cockpit, that would be a bit scruffy. Yeah, happy with that now, that's a bit more together. A lot less contrast going on, so that disappears and blends quite nicely. There's another blob on the front here that I'm not happy with. Definitely want contrast on this front edge. So, I'm gonna mask that. Just tweak that a bit. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. I'm going to go around this frame now, put some chipping on here. I'm going to use this blue edge colour that I put on here. Okay, so now I'm kind of happy with this. It's got a little bit of surface spatter on it with the same as the colour of the weathering, just to give it a little bit of texture. I've gone over the edges of the canopy here, just done a few little chips on there. What I'm going to do now is clear coat this top, just to bring everything together, and hopefully we should be pretty much there. Don't want to overdo it. I think I've gone far enough. So we'll see. I may put a few more little details on actually, just to jump it up a little bit more. Yeah, see how it goes. Clear coat next. Anyway, there it is. Colin Cantwell, Sith fighter. On the back end here we have the engines, just like that. Little actuators on here. I've loved that sketch for a long time. I'll make a few glory shots now and you can see what the crack is. If you want one of these, let me know. Thanks for watching everybody, and I hope to see you again soon.